Hey guys, it's the History Nerd, and we are back with another exciting episode of not Europa Universalis 4 at all. This is Crusader Kings 2, Eastern Roman Empire. Now, let's unpause and actually get this back going up to speed 3. That is excellent. We've got ourselves a son named Zenobios. Alright, Zeno, that seems pretty good. He's a stutterer and he's ill. So the stutterer trait is going to ruin our diplomacy, and ill means he could wind up dying sooner than later. Instead of actually naming Zenobios here my despot, which will start generating some prestige for him along with being born in the purple, I'm going to wait it out for a couple of years, just see how the kid develops. Maybe we'll wind up having another kid somewhere along the way who's better. We do have the ability to now upgrade things. We are at war, so it might not be a bad idea to upgrade our martial abilities, and we still are 29 years young. Plenty of time to work on things and let things develop. So what's the plan? Well, the plan is obviously to beat the Turks, and then once we beat, maybe they're not even the Turks. Maybe that is the wrong, area to assign them to. Nope, they're definitely Turkish. So we need to beat the Turks back, which we should be able to do. We've got them out of our own nation, out of the empire, and now we're focusing on sieging their land, which should have them turn around and say, hey, we'll make peace and get us lots of prestige and lots of money. What is your plan? Don't need assassinations going on in my empire. None of that, well, unless I'm doing it. But my vassals, no. Provided, of course, they will just stop when I ask them. At this stage, it's certainly not worth risking a civil war over, so that's fine. Only one thing can explain my son Zenobios' sickness: poison. I talked to several of my courtiers and servants who confirmed my suspicion. They all recalled my wife Maria giving Zenobios something to eat or drink just before he fell ill. I have a feeling she knows something. Of course, she is not a fan of me, but I do think that she might be doing something intelligent here. So may she rot in the dungeon. Obviously, she will be imprisoned, and that's not good. Nobody wants a wife in prison. May she rot in hell. We could just kill her and work on getting ourselves another wife, but I mean, really, her traits aren't all that great. She does have a weak claim on the Kingdom of Norway, which could get interesting if we decided. Ooh, and a weak claim on the Kingdom of England as well. So, if we wanted to go crazy balls with the historical inaccuracies, we could go on a quest to get either Norway or England under the throne of the Byzantine Empire, but I don't think that's going to be all that necessary. And what else? We can just have her become paranoid. Well, I mean, given the options, I think we'll just execute her. And, see if we can't find ourselves a better wife. Maybe a Princess of England? Well, let's see. Let's check the diplomacy stats. Because that is really what we want, but there's not really anybody that looks good here, so maybe go for some stewardship instead. We do have a siege leader, and she is, we got no alliance. She is in a Greek household. That could cause things to go all right. Cynical or honest, she's not looking like a bad choice here. Let's just take a moment and check our vassals. Actually, we'll do it the smarter way. What we care about is obviously the rich vassals, so let's just drag this over. And check this out. You've got nobody I could marry. You've got nobody I can marry. You have a 0-year-old daughter, so, I mean, that's probably not going to happen. Have you got any unmarried siblings? Doesn't look like it. No, what I wanted was, there we go. You've got also a very young daughter who's not going to be much of a help to me. All right, so that's looking like pretty slim pickings. I could go through the entire empire, but that seems like a long and arduous process that nobody really wants to have to sit through. Just a Hungarian count, that's not really going to be all that great. Not to mention the religious differences. So, let's just check the good old Orthodox ladies and see what's open. This Anna girl, she's still popping up. She's got my eye, that is for sure. Strong is a good thing to have, but she's one. So that's maybe not a good idea. What do we got here? Cynical, content, shy, wroth, and cruel. That sounds freaking scary. What else have we got here? Kind, deceitful, charitable, and content. That's actually not that bad. And Greek do, that sounds pretty good to me. Yes, we will arrange that wedding. Perfect. That's exciting. And then perhaps this kid will just die out. He's got a weak claim on the Kingdom of Norway, but we'll see. Certainly not what I want out of an heir. But we'll see how time progresses. In the meantime, siege is going fairly well, and I'm confident that I could actually just hack this castle down, speed things up a little bit. Though the Turks are at war with it looks like they got 2 revolts going on, which is helpful, keeping their armies occupied with internal politics instead of worrying about the Byzantine Empire not even reclaiming, but just messing up their plans, which I'm okay with. If we need to, we've got another almost 2,000 ready and waiting to get back in uniform. History is a subject that has always fascinated me, and you have spent the last few weeks studying, and I have spent the last few weeks studying the campaigns of Alexander the Great. There are many lessons to be learned from his conquests in the East. Perhaps I, too, will march east someday. Well, I'm fairly confident you will march east, probably into Edessa, which is a very good chunk of land to take, and I believe... No, we don't actually have other parts of Edessa. The tricky thing here, right, is that we've got a section of the world here where, let's just go to the province view. A lot of these little areas that I can declare holy wars for, they're kind of hacked up. So if we take a look, we've got bits of Antioch, but Arca is not ours. And we've got a little bit of Tripoli, but of course the rest of Tripoli is not ours. And, you know, we could easily get some of Galilee as well. These guys here are independent, so that makes them a bit more of a juicy target to go after. We can definitely unpause while I'm rambling. So we might go for those two first, and then these will at least give us potentially de jure claims on, you know, other parts of the land. So we should already have a de jure claim on Antioch. If we get Tripoli, we should get a little de jure claim on Baalbek there. And the same with Beirut for Galilee. So, yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure I went over this in the last video, but just to recap on what the strategy is, it's basically to dominate Eastern Europe, or the Eastern Mediterranean region and Saudi Arabia here. Pretty much just down along these lines. We'll see. I know in EU4, this region in here becomes a trade node, so we'll definitely want to have that. And looks like they're looking for peace. We can gain 100 prestige and another 100 from our war contribution, and they'll lose 200, but it's not enough. It's nice to know they're ready to make peace. They've taken care of one of their revolts. They've still got the Zoroastrian uprising to deal with, and obviously the war with the Byzantine Empire, which is not going in their favor. That's okay. I'm pleased that we're actually getting some success here. In a lot of the practice games, it was touch and go this first war. Sometimes, depending on the amount of rebellions you get, or, you know, just what your luck is with the first couple of fightings, and, of course, what kind of rebellions the Turks get. It can either be a fairly easy war to win, or a fairly easy war to lose. So I'm glad this one turned out to be a fairly easy war to win. And these guys are obviously coming for Taran here. What do we got? Oh, my new wife, Theophano, is ready to get married, so let's go ahead and do that. How exciting. People respect wealth. Give me the prestige. I don't need paltry pittances from my vassals congratulating me on marrying their daughter. Just let the wedding happen and, you know, let the future take its course is basically what's going on with that. And obviously these guys are going to have an easier time of the siege. Thankfully, we're already fairly well off. And we can see they're starting to funnel some more troops up here. We still have quite a lot of troops, so that's not a concern. I expressed my views on the whole religion and God thing a bit too loud and got into a lot of trouble with the priest because of it. God is dead. That's a little bit of prestige or piety lost. That's okay. We're with the heathen. We'll get that back. And being an Orthodox ruler, we don't have to worry about getting excommunicated from the Pope. That happened a couple of years ago with the Great Schism, so we're covered. Well, we're speaking of the Great Schism. I think they kind of missed the boat with the old gods, and in the 867 start already having Orthodox as a actual real religion. Oh my, those leaders, those are not good leaders. How about we put a heavy infantry leader probably on this flank, actually, because there's a lot more heavy infantry there. And then this guy, we'll put Captain of the Varangian Guard. He is an unpredictable leader. There isn't a lot of cavalry there, which is our other leader, so we'll do that. Oh, and then we can put a cavalry leader right there, and that should increase our fighting abilities. You were out of there on the 13th of June, and we're there the 28th of May. You can run all you want. We're catching you. And sure, they've got a bit of a defensive bonus, but hey, we've got the numbers. And that is, although we are really losing a lot of those numbers that are an advantage, but their army lost a lot more, and 751 men aren't even really going to be able to get a siege. Well, they could potentially get a siege going on the lands that I hold for them. We need a new Magisterios, so we will take the Grey Eminence, who wants to become a Sacalarios. Damn my lack of understanding of Greek, but still, you're a good diplomat. Welcome to the team. Alright, and I mean, we should, once this morale gets up to full, we should be able to hack this this castle down without too much of an issue, and hopefully get a lot more into our war score. That one might be a bit more of a trick, but we can definitely hack those guys down without taking too many losses. Perfect. We're up to a 55% war score over the Turks. That's great. With only 8,000 men, I'm certainly not going to hack down this last Mosque of Bile, which I'm probably mispronouncing, but deal with it, peeps. I don't really need to raise any more troops. I don't think there's going to be much of a threat. If there is, well, at least I've got the war score at 50%. And we'll give them something to do while we reform our army. It doesn't take that long, especially with effective use of the Byzantine Navy. That's always a trick, just a little extra micromanaging. Thankfully, I've got plenty of practice from playing a Viking. So, well, and from playing the Byzantine Empire as well. Just come along, snag ourselves Bira here, and slowly get ourselves the victory that we all know we deserve. We got 1,000 men walking in, and we got some righteous imprisonment. Probably because you want to see the Duchy of Moisa granted to a new ruler, and your damn plot. Sir, there was no plotting in the Empire. It certainly sounds crazy when talking about the Byzantine Empire. It was a political system mainly based around plotting. But we're turning over a new leaf, creating a new empire for the glory of what's left of Rome. Or really for Constantinople is what it is. But the Constantinopolitan Empire certainly has an awkward ring to it. I don't think that would ever take off. You're starting to think Anna might fancy you. The military leader who I was considering marrying, huh? She's, well, considering the situation, and with this guy who's actually now healed, but, you know, not looking all that hot, we'll make a move. We'll go for that. There was a definite consideration of marriage there, so no harm, no foul. Ah, she's spurned my subtle advances. Well, that is a shame. Even when you're the emperor, sometimes you just can't get the ladies. We'll just get the siege on Bira down and then hack down the last of their army. They shouldn't have too many more troops kicking around and, you know, 1,500 men. Well, they can certainly mess up a siege. Don't have a chance against my 8,000. They certainly are getting quite a number of reinforcements, but the numbers are still incredibly low. We don't need to worry about any of this crap. Come on, just get the siege and we'll... Oh, no. It went away quick enough. Whoever was plotting probably knew what the Imperial reply would be. 17th of August, 22nd of August. Looks like you're going to make it out. Where are you headed to? Up into my land, are you? Okay, well that's... Oh, why did you do that? Well, I'm okay hacking down a unit of 5 troops. We'll just let her rot for now. And that's where you want to stay, is it? All right. We'll play your little game. You're not going to be able to flee out of this, so... let's go ahead and appoint a new Scaglieros. Okay, that's fine. And we should get you researching economic tech right away. So the Byzantines do have a bit of a tech advantage at the start, and I like to keep that going. I like to keep the Byzantine Empire pretty high up in the old tech range. You're going to Edessa. We will follow you across the river and hack you to pieces before you can flee, hopefully. 14th of December, 26th of November, not even a question. Victory for the Empire. You're going into Kilat. I really don't care about that. We'll go back to Bira. Why did so many leaders run away? Heavy infantry. That is you. That's good. So here we'll go back and back. It's fairly okay, I guess. We don't have a cavalry heavy army at the moment. I don't know if we ever will. I realize, you know, the Byzantine Empire with their cataphract units are like super knights. But I prefer using... Oh, what's the word? Heavy infantry. I prefer an infantry-based army than a cavalry-based army. It's basically what I'm saying. That's personal preference. Obviously, cavalry armies have their uses, and they're good. But I always tend to focus on the heavy infantry because, you know, it's the grunts. It's the average man in the trench doing the fighting that win you the wars, not the privileged few running around in heavy armor and horseback. So here we go. This is a much better return. We get 200 prestige and then 200 prestige from our war contribution because we're the only one fighting it, and 1,200 ducats. So we are definitely going to accept that. Accept that peace treaty, get our boys back home and disbanded. In honor of the Empire's recent victory, it would be appropriate to hold a triumph in the capital for the heroic soldiers who fought in the campaign. Such an arrangement will be expensive, but the people expect nothing less. Thankfully, money's not a problem, because we've got quite a lot of gold, so a glorious triumph will be held down the streets, in the Hippodrome of Constantinople. Down the streets, people will be able to see for miles the spoils of our victory. A mighty triumph is held at the Hippodrome to celebrate the brave generals and soldiers who brought defeat to the enemies of the Empire. The people cheer as trumpeters lead a long procession that includes parading soldiers, carts filled with spoils of war, and cages holding captives from the recent campaign. You see, we're not the Roman Empire, but we sure sound like the Roman Empire. Which I guess really does mean we are the Roman Empire. Anyway, we can disband our units. We've got nobody left, and the world is now officially our oyster. So we've got truce with the Seljuk Turks, so there will be no expansion in that realm. I'd love to go for Tripoli, but they're already dealing with quite a big war, probably coming from the Fatimids. A troubadour and his wife, the Trobarits, has arrived from Occitania. Their performances range from vulgar satires to political servants and everything in between, including songs and poems of courtly love. Courtly love, pah! Because we're cynical, we can do that and, lose some intrigue because we're sad. I remember those two. They came here last year. That'll make the ecumenical patriarch Ionius the Eighth like us just a little bit more, and they will be well paid, I assure you. So we can gain charitable, which is really not a bad trait to have that we do not have, so we will take it. +3 to diplomacy. Can't beat that. Now we got some money to spend. Let's spend it. Spend it on what, you ask? Well, the first thing we're going to do is get a keep built in Constantinople, because that's a good thing to have. And once Galatia here finishes the city walls, which could take a little while, actually. Yeah, next year sometime. So we'll take a look at perhaps another city. All of our cities are building something. The plan is, and it's going to stay, Galatia is going to get a university just to help out with the technology spread, which is pretty important. And I believe a fully developed university upgrades when you convert the game over to EU4. I'm not 100% on that. I don't know, what the exact state of the converter is. And I do know that with upgrades to CK2 and upgrades to Europa Universalis 4, the converter may have, kind of got left by the wayside a little bit. So I could be wrong in that assumption. Regardless, I think a university in Galatia here is just a good idea. So we go ahead, kick it up to speed 4. All right, so we've got another son. Let's take a look at this kid while that's going on. And he's a 00000. Obviously, he's just a newborn. We don't really know much about Theodolius here, except that he was born in the purple. So we're just going to wait and see how things develop. Manuel has challenged you to a friendly game of Tizanican at the Tizkanisterian Stadium in Constantinople. This popular Byzantine game can trace its root back to Sassanid Persia and features two teams on horseback using sticks with nets to get a leather ball into the opposing team's goal. Sounds a lot like polo. So yeah, of course we're going to play polo. We're rich aristocrats. You spend a wonderful afternoon at the Polo Eon, playing a tense game of polo that ends in victory for your team. Your opponent and his team are magnanimous in defeat, and you depart the stadium as friends. How lovely. Alright, June of 74 is what we're going to be targeting. The end of June of 74, of course. And we do have a little bit of a succession crisis. We will see how these things turn out. I believe I can do great things, so therefore I've put my mind to actually implement my ideas. Pride is not a sin. Lose a health, lose some piety. Pride comes before fall, so we could lose the trait proud. What does proud get us? Proud gets us monthly prestige, so no, pride is not a sin. We'll lose a bit of health, which certainly sucks, but I'm not that concerned. So we can go ahead and, I thought it was doing military. Certainly was reading about Alexander the Great, but apparently that has changed. I think I'll keep up with it, though. It is one of my... Oh, actually, well, that's a bit too late to change it now. I should have gone with stewardship to help out the realm. Lessons learned. Maybe. Come on. How much are we making? Anyway, we're making 8 a month. So, I mean, it's not crazy, but it's still, you know, freaking pretty damn good. Almost there. You've been studying the art of mounted combat under the tutelage of a skilled local horseman. The bruises you have incurred from falling off your horse will heal in time, and there are a small price to pay for your increased horsemanship. Giddy up! That's good. 1 martial point. Obviously, you know, riding around on a horse, very important for war at this time. And we're almost done the city walls. Perfect. Holding is not building anything. Holding is not building anything. There we go. We will plop down a university. It's a lot of money. We still got 500 in the bank, though, which is, you know, still a crap ton of money, considering the time we're living in. But getting a university, that is going to be huge. Well, I'm at it. Let's also work on getting my retinue up. I am pleased to report the majority of the population in Karen have been converted to the Orthodox faith. I like that. Let's again take a look. And so we do have the Miaphysite issue going on, which we'll sort through as time goes by. But hey, at least they're not infidels. So that's a step in the right direction. I think I'm going to go ahead and get myself 2. Nope. Cancel that. 2 retinue here of heavy infantry. And that'll give us 1,000 men to add into the Imperial Army, which is pretty damn good number. Looks like Do Andronicus here wants to play some polo. So we will, of course, get the polo team together, and we'll do a rematch at some other time in the future. All right. Well, basically, with that done, we've got a few options. Obviously, we could work on cleaning up some of these smaller Muslim states that are still kicking around, like Dwin. Or we could go for Hashemir here. That's also a possibility. We've got the peace with the Seljuks, so that's going to take a while. And there's also the Fatimids. Oh, excuse me. Let's get some water in the system. Both of these are pretty big and scary. They don't share the same religion, though, which is good. So the Fatimids here, if I am correct in my assumption, are Shia, whereas the Sunni are, well, the Sunni are Sunni, obviously. The Turks are Sunni. So what this means is if we declare a holy war on one, the other one, I believe, can't join in because they're a different sect of the faith. It would be like if they declared a jihad on, you know, Croatia. The Byzantine Empire couldn't really just jump in because we are, of course, different branches of Christianity. So there is the possibility of one of those two, but those are big, heavy, long wars. They do net you a lot of good land. But I think what we're going to be doing is focusing on taking down the Seljuks first, grabbing land like Edessa and Aleppo, basically, you know, this chunk in here to get us a better border with the Fatimids so we can push down into the Holy Land and the rest. So, you know, we'll see what opportunity presents ourselves. I'd like taking out the Seljuks, at least taking a big chunk out of them first. And then, you know, generally they'll have some internal issues. Hopefully so will the Fatimids. Regardless, that's all going to be taken care of in further episodes of the series. I think this is a fairly good place to leave it for now. What I will do, though, is assign a new ecclesiarch. And we can send him probably over to Thessalonica here to do some proselytizing, because we don't need Paulicans running around in the heartland of the empire. Out on the fringes, the Miaphysites, you know, we'll work on those as time goes on, but we can't really be having any sort of religious discontinuity in the Greek homelands. That's got to stay Orthodox for the rest of time. All right, guys, that's where we're going to be leaving the video, so let's go ahead, save this up. It's a shame to get rid of the 69 there, but such is life. I'm sure it'll come up again. Thumbs up if you have enjoyed the video. Leave your comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, jokes, musings, what have you below. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.